Me, your local poultry farm, welcome. Now, all of you who have chicks or who have chickens that are point of lay stage. By point of lay, I mean those chickens that are 4.5 and above month old, and they are not laying, or they are laying abnormally. By abnormally, what do I mean? I mean you have like 200 birds, and then inside the chicken house you find 10 eggs, you find 20, you find 2 trays, you find 1 tray. Please come closer, get your pen and paper or pen and book. Let us study. Remember, the only reason we are rearing this local poultry, the main primary goal is to get these eggs, because through these eggs we can add on the value to either fertilize them and sell them as fertilized eggs, hatch chicks out of them, or even brood the chicks and sell them at 1 month. So all of you who have the chicks and you think they are point of lay and they are not giving you the eggs you expect, or they are not even laying at all, please get closer. Let us study. This episode is for you. But before we get there, welcome to another exciting episode of The Farm With Us, where we get to answer all your questions right here in our classroom. Mia Local Poultry Farm is located in Chenjojo District along Fort Potro Road. There is a town council, there is a trading center called River Valley just before you enter Matiri Forest. I think most of you guys who use that Fort Potro Road, you know that forest, a very, very big forest called the Matiri Forest. Just before you enter that forest, if as you're coming from Kampala, that is the trading center. It's called River Valley. If you ask anyone, any border person, any person you come across that, where do I find Mia Local Poultry Farm, they will direct you to us. Don't forget to give us phone calls if you need 1-day-old chicks, if you need fertilized eggs. Those of you who are looking for market for your roosters, okay? But remember, we said we are giving this market to the people who purchased the baby chicks from Mia Local Poultry Farm. Your offer is still on. Call us if you think you are stuck with these roosters. We shall take them immediately. We always say the moment you call, we shall send you someone to come and look at these chicks. These roosters, negotiate with you, and they will buy them immediately. So, without wasting a lot of time, let's dive into the question for today. Now, the question for today comes from Nancy. Nancy, you are in Namibia. We have a lot of people watching us from Namibia. Namibia fans, I love you so much. We, as Mia Local Poultry Farm, we love you so much. Maybe we shall organize one of these days, God willingly, this 2026, maybe come over to Namibia to visit your farms. You guys, I think you are so much dealing in local poultry, and I told you that is when we can kick poverty out of our homes. Now, what does Nancy want to know? Now, Nancy is asking, hello, Mia Local Poultry Farm. My chicks are at 7 months old, but they are not yet giving me eggs. Can you please tell me why, and how can I overcome? Thank you very much, Nancy, for that question. So you have your chickens, you have your hens, they are at 7 months, and then they are not laying yet. And we always tell you that when you are rearing the good breeds, those chickens you buy from Mia, okay? Those chickens you always buy from Mia Local Poultry, they should start laying at 4.5 months. 4.5 to 5 months. They should be starting to lay. Now, we are going to look at why your chicks are not giving you eggs. Let's dive into that. Now, first of all, we are going to look at the way we mix our feeds, our formula. By formula, we mean the way we mix. How much bran we put in, how much broken we put in, how much concentrate, what type of concentrate. Do we put in lime? Do we put in this and that? Now, by that, we come up with a formula. And I told you, I always tell you, these formulas are not the same. It's not what I mix, it's what you're going to mix. Because different concentrate companies, you know, we have so many companies. We have Cowdays, we have Hendrix, we have Jubairi, we have SR, we have so many. Okay? They produce different feeds and they produce them at different percentages. Now, even if we are both using Cowdays, and I have cow days layer concentrate of 20%, and let's assume you have viewers and it is 10% or 5%, we are not going to mix the same. Okay, we are not going to have the same mixture. Now, what are we going to do in this? I'm going to give you the mixture or the formula that I use. But before you even go to the formula, we need to know why our chicks are not laying. Now, I want you to take a flashback at all the time you have been with these local chickens. These 4.5 or 5 or 7 month nurse you're talking about. Was there some time when you took some shortcuts when it came to feeding? What do I mean by shortcuts? By shortcuts, I mean things like not giving them feeds in time, not giving them the right feeds we have been talking about, mixing wrong formulas, or even giving them bran alone. You know, sometimes our pockets can become short and you think you need to take some shortcuts 1 or 2 weeks and then catch up when you have money, when you can buy these concentrates and the broken and what have you. So if you have ever done that, yes, your chickens are not going to lay at the time we told you at 4.5 months. Instead of that, they're going to maybe spend another week or another month or 2 to start laying. But now, don't get worried. Don't get scared that they are not going to lay at all. No, they are going to lay. Just that they are going to take a little longer. Now, what are some of the things we're going to do to correct that? One, I want you one thing that I want you to do, I want you to ask yourself, are you immunizing or are you vaccinating? Are you vaccinating these chickens at the right time? Remember, when you buy these chickens from me, a local poultry farm, we give you a chart that you're supposed to follow, okay? A chart that you're going to follow whenever you are vaccinating them. But now, after finishing that chart, many of you stop there and think vaccination is done. No, vaccination is not done. It is just starting. Don't forget that every month we need to vaccinate against Newcastle. Now, we need to vaccinate against Newcastle disease. This one we do monthly because Newcastle can attack these chicks, whether they are young, whether they are old, whether they are at what stage, it can always attack them. Now, every month you need to vaccinate against Newcastle. When you vaccinate against Newcastle, what else do you want you to do into the medicine part of this? I want you to deworm these chickens every month, at least once a month. Why do we need to do that? You know, these chickens have so many worms inside them because of what they are eating. Remember, they are eating dirt, they're eating from dirty places, they are drinking this, you know. Sometimes they will release their own poop and then feed on it. So it's so complicated. It's like they are like babies. Now, every month you need to deworm them. If you don't deworm these chickens, they are not going to lay the way they are supposed to lay. These are the kind of chickens you're going to find today. They have given you an egg, then tomorrow they will not lay, maybe for another 2 days or 3, then lay at the 4th day. So it's going to be crazy. But if you want them to lay constantly, okay, at least you get up to 70 or 80% of the whole flock laying, you need to vaccinate. That was number 1. Number 2 was to deworm them at least once a month. But when you're doing these 2 things, deworming and vaccinating, don't do them at the same time. No, you don't give them the deworming and then the vaccinating at the same time. If you vaccinate maybe today, you can spend a week or 2 and then deworm. And then when the month is over for vaccinating, you vaccinate again. Then when the month is over for deworming, you deworm again. Now, those are the 2 things you're going to do. Now, we told you the main thing, even before we go into vaccinating and deworming. We said that the 2 main things are, or the main thing is feeding. What are you feeding your chickens? Even before even before we go into finding out what formula you are giving your chicks, the feeds formula. What are you feeding your birds? Okay, we told you that when these birds clock 4 months, when they clock 4 months, you need to if you are still giving them broiler concentrate, you need to immediately switch to layer concentrate. I don't care about which product you're going to give them, so long as it is a layer concentrate. Why do we give them a layer concentrate? Remember, when they reach 4 months, we are preparing them to start laying, maybe in another 2 weeks or 1 month. Now we need to prepare that system where the eggs are going to be formed. Now, if you continue giving them the broiler concentrate, the only thing they are going to do is to put on more fats. And we said if they put on more fats, they are going to put fats where that system where those eggs are going to be formulated. And those fats are going to cover those eggs. Those eggs are not going to mature. They may not even form at all. So this is why you find your chickens are not laying, because you are keeping them on the broiler concentrate, and all they are doing is fattening. You don't need to fatten your chickens if you want eggs from them. Remember, we said in the previous episodes that you choose one. If you need to sell them for meat, fatten them. If you need them to lay, then put them on the layer concentrate and they will not fatten. So don't be like this person who wants to hit 2 birds with 1 stone. You want your chickens to be fat because you have not decided whether you want to sell them or you want eggs from them. Now, if you're in the middle there, they are going to give you eggs poorly. Okay? I hope you have got that. Now, make sure this is the time when we're preparing, or when even we start seeing these eggs. Maybe today they are laying, you find 5 eggs, you find 2 eggs, and they are not adding to themselves. You need to be very, 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 very attentive at this stage. Remember, you have been rearing these birds for over 5 months, and I have not been giving you anything. Now, this is the time we need to be very careful, because we're going to start earning them, and we want, when we start earning, we can earn for more than 2 years on a daily basis. Now, when you're giving them these feeds, don't take shortcuts, please. Give them the right amount of feeds. Okay? Give them the right amount of broken, the right amount of bran, the right amount of lime. Why do we need to put in lime? Because we are preparing these chicks to be mounted on. Okay? If you don't put them lime there, the bones and the legs and what have you, they're going to be so soft. When these cocks, remember, these roosters are huge. When they come and mount this chicken, they are going to become lame. Okay? They're going to break their bones, because it's like getting, these big guys who do wrestling. And then you get a very, 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 very tiny woman. And then you tell this man to come and mount, It's not even, I don't know how I can bring it out. You cannot get this man who is 200 kgs and then put him on top of this younger girl who is about 30 or 40 kgs. Okay? So, that is what you're doing to your chicken. You're going to kill your chickens. They are going to get lame. They are going to do every sort of thing. They are not going to give you eggs. Another thing you need to know, okay? You need to know if your chickens are not giving you the right number of eggs. These chickens, when they start laying, in most cases, they demand you to give them these roosters or the cocks. Okay? And when you give them the cocks, let's make sure that you give them the right amount of cocks. Not too much and not too low of the cocks. Why not too low? When you give them very little cocks, assuming you have 100 birds, and then you give them about 4 or 5 cocks, then they are not going to be able to serve all the 100 birds. Now, when they give you eggs and you take them to the incubator, you're going to find that most of the eggs are going to come out when they are clear. Remember, we talked about clear eggs, and we talked about why we get these clear eggs. You may find this chicken did not mate with the male, and now the egg they produce, you're not going to know if there is a baby or not. Now, when you take it to the incubator, that's going to be a loss. It's going to come out as a clear egg, the egg without anything, without a chick in it. Because you'll not know. You'll know after taking them to the incubator, paying the money, and then going to pick the chicks. They tell you these eggs were clear. Now, very fast, how do we know that we have the right amount or the right number of cocks in our flock? We always have a ratio of 1 to 10. Every 1 cock give it 10 hens. Okay, I think that is very simple. What does that mean? If you have 100 hens, give them 10 cocks, so that everyone can mount 10. Every one cock can mount 10 hens. Okay, but we have always told you that whenever you're putting these cocks in your flock, in these hens, always put some dangerous substitutes. Okay, it's like a football team. If a football team consists of 11 players, at least put some for reserve. Okay, put them on the bench, let them sit there. Now in chicken, you don't put them in a different chicken house. Put them there, so that in case one is not able to serve 10, then these dangerous substitutes are going to help it. Assuming it serves 8 or 7, these 3 are going to be served by the dangerous substitutes. And when you're putting these reserves, don't put in too many, because you're going to create a lot of competition. Now when you create a lot of competition, for example, if you have 100 hens and you're putting like 20 cocks, there's going to be a lot of competition in the chicken house. Now instead of mating or instead of serving, they are going to be fighting. These cocks are going to be fighting against each other, because they are fighting for these female chickens, the hens. Now instead of mating, they are spending the time fighting each other. So this is why we need to put the right amount of cocks in the flock. So it's very, very important. Even the type of cocks that you put there matters. But that's a topic for another day. We have been talking about this always and always. Now, if these chicks are not giving you eggs at that time, Nancy, I'm talking to you. If they are not giving you eggs at 7 months, it's even too late. But it's never too late, I told you, in farming. We can correct this. What do we need to do? Look at your formula that you're mixing. How much of the concentrate are you mixing? How much of the broken are you mixing? How much of the bran, of the lime, and what have you? Okay? So, if you have the right formula, trust me, it will not take even 2 more weeks without them starting to lay and laying for good. Now, when these chicks are laying, when they start laying, there are 2 things we're going to take note of. 1, some of the chicks that tend to mature, some chickens will mature before the others. By maturing, I meaning giving you eggs before the others. So when you come in your chicken house and find there are 5 eggs, there are 2 eggs, there are 10, in the early stages, that is okay. But when it goes up to 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 month, then you know that is abnormal. You need to check yourself. Okay? Now, what are you going to do? When these chicks start laying, I want you to enter in your chicken house. Okay? You remove every small chick. There are these chicks that don't mature, that take long to mature. Now, these chicks, we assume that they are not eating the right amount of the feeds that you're putting in the chicken house. Serving this chicken with feeds doesn't stop at you pouring the feeds in the feeders and then giving water and then walking away. No. When you put that the feeds there, remember there is a lot of competition in the chicken house. Every chicken wants to eat. Now, the chickens that are, big in size, strong, they are going to eat first. Now, there are those weak ones that are not going to eat. Okay? It's like a family. You have boys, you have girls, you have these young ones, you have these ones that are small. Now, if you put all the food on like one platter and you tell them to eat, you find the boys, the way they are eating, they take like 5 times when this girl has taken like once only. Now, even in growing, this girl is not to grow like these boys. This is going to happen in your flock or in your chickens. Whenever you put in feeds, these big ones, the roosters, the big hens, are going to start eating fast. Now, by the time the small ones start eating, food is even getting finished. Okay? Now, Why did I bring that now? When your chickens start laying, okay, you're going to isolate those small weak ones. Okay, remove them out of that flock, put them somewhere, and give them their feeds separately. Okay, I hope I'm so clear on that. Now, this is going to help you to identify which chickens are not laying. Now, when you remove these small ones, in most cases, you're going to find they are not laying. Put them somewhere, give them the right foods, the feeds that you're feeding the other ones, and then they are going to catch up, they are going to regain and start giving you eggs, and now you can transfer them back to the chicken house when they have grown, matured, and can compete for the same feeds just like the other ones. So that is very, very important. So we have looked at why our chicks will not give us eggs. We have talked of not giving them the right feeds. By right feeds, we mean the quality and the quantity. How do we make our formula? I cannot give you, even if I gave you my formula, I would want to know what type of concentrate you are using. Because me, I use 20% cow days. Now 20% cow days, how do I mix it? In most cases, I use 100 kilograms of bran. I mix it with 86 kilograms of broken maize. Okay, now I mix with 14 kilograms of lime. That makes it 200 kilograms altogether. And now I put in the 50 kilogram concentrate, the layer concentrate of 20%. But just like I have said, I don't want you to cram what I'm using and you go and apply it to yours. Because there are two things we look out for. One, the percentage of the concentrate. Okay? When they are producing that concentrate on the sack, they will put it as layer concentrate 20%, broiler concentrate 20%, or layer concentrate 5%. So there are so many percentages, there are so many brands. I cannot give you the formula for everyone. But whoever is selling to you those feeds should give you the formula you're supposed to mix for your eggs. And when you're asking for the formula, please tell him, my chickens are local chickens, or they are layers, or they are broilers, or sasso, or anything, because all that requires a different formula. Now we said we look at two things. One is the percentage of the concentrate. Second, what do we look out when we're making these feeds formula? The second thing we look out for is the weight, okay, the weight of your birds. If your birds are so heavy, if you know they have a lot of weight, let's assume they are 2.5 kilograms and above. We don't want our chickens that are laying to be above 2 kilograms. 2 kilograms is okay, 2.2 is okay. But when they reach 2.5, 3 kilograms, that is a very bad sign. Remember we said what makes these chickens put on weight are fats. So that means you have fattened your chicks. Now if you don't mix properly your feeds formula, you are going to keep fattening these birds. So two things that can fatten these birds. If you're giving them excess feeds, those of you who say, oh, sorry for my chicken, they have finished, let me keep adding, then you are not measuring the feeds that you're giving them, but you are instead keep adding more feeds, adding as they finish. If when you do that, first of all, your chickens are going to put on a lot of weight. Secondly, what is going to happen is that you're going to be encroaching on your pocket. You're going to be encroaching more on your pocket, because the more feeds you give, the more money you put in. Now, we would really want to avoid our chickens to be overweight. When they are overweight, they're going to have too much fats and they're not going to give us eggs. Or they're going to give us eggs abnormally, because these fats are going to cover that part, that system where the eggs formulate. So it's very important before you mix your feeds, you know, it's a good habit to always weigh. I will put in some videos when we are weighing our chickens. Every weekend, at least every Sunday, get a day once in a week and take all the sample or all the average of your chicken. Okay, when you're getting the average, you don't need to look out for the big chickens, you don't need to look out for the small ones. Just randomly pick any chicken, get like 10 of them or 15 of them, measure them, divide by that number, and get the average weight. So we have talked so much about that. I think Nancy, I have answered, I think I have exhausted all you wanted to know. Don't forget that when we are rearing these birds, when we are rearing these local poultry birds, we are mainly looking at the eggs. We are not looking at selling for meat. We are looking at the eggs, and when they start laying these eggs and they are laying very well, we are going to make money for even more than 2 years. Okay, every day we are collecting money, every day because every time you're collecting eggs, just count them as money. Whether you want to sell them as fertilized eggs, whether you want to hatch them and sell them as 1-day-old chicks, or even brood them to sell them as 1-month-old chicks. Okay, so every egg you are getting, hold it, handle it with care. We have seen how to pick the eggs that are going to be fertilized, how we do that, how we keep them, how we clean them. We have so many videos explaining all that. So without I didn't want to make this video too long, but I can see it's already 26 minutes. Guys, I love you so much. In case you have any question, if you want me to explain more about the chicken formula, the feeds formula, you can tell me how many birds you have, what's your average weight in your chicken, how old they are, what concentrate are you using? Are you using Hendrix? Are you using Jubaili? Are you using Kafika cow days? What percentage of the feed? So we look at all that and then we come out with the feeds formula. So I love you so much, guys. Mia Local Poultry Farm is here for you. I remind you that our number is 0705 958 172. I repeat, 0705 958 172. And for you guys who are not in Uganda, like Nancy in Namibia, as you always do, please add in the Ugandan code, which is +256. Now those of you who are out of Uganda are going to call +256 704 +256 705 958 172. I love you guys. Bye bye until we meet for the next episode.